even when you think that things do not have the ability to manifest, trust that if it is meant for you, it will manifest. You have to go with where you are at in your own life. And you have to trust and know that what is for you is for you. And that spirit, your guide, your team will always make a way. Divine greetings and gratitude, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If y'all are new here, my name is Cassandra. I'm the witch, author, and poet of Magic of Eden. Welcome to your new spiritual safe haven. And if y'all are returning, hey family, welcome back to our sacred garden. I'm always honored, excited, and elated to be in your presence. I was inspired to share, or divinely guided to share, this random story time about my move to Virginia. And it's perfect because we actually have a new moon coming up in the sign of Pisces, which requires divine love and perfect trust and surrendering and literally following your intuition and your dreams. So this story time is perfect for the time that we're in right now. And I'm hoping that it can also inspire you to follow your intuition and to go as you are divinely led. And this is so special to me because it actually happened at a time in my life where I was going through a major breakdown, where I was having to find myself again, where I was learning myself again and learning how to walk again without my former partner. Now, the reason why this is important is because, well, first and foremost, I'm going to say this real quick. This is not a structured video. This is just us kind of talking, having a good time. Maybe you want to go grab some tea really quickly here. You can pause the video, go grab some tea. I have some water over there, but I'm too lazy to go get it, and I'm not going to do it right now. And also because I am on a roll, I just recorded another video that I'm going to link up here somewhere, and I just want to keep going. Assuming that you're back, all right? I don't want to say that I'm scared to share this because I'm not. I just know that I'm in a space in my life where Pluto's like currently transiting my 10th house for like the next 20 years. So good luck, hooray me. And I know that for me, I'm learning how to structure myself more, and I'm working at perfecting my craft because I do merge the arts of poetry and magic. And also I'm learning how to just be comfortable in my image and perfect my image and things of that nature. Anyway, apart from all of that, the reason why all that is important is because I set my intention a long time ago that I would be doing certain things. I know that I wanted to do poetry. I know that I wanted to do, writing and things of that nature. And I also knew that I wanted to continue on with my apothecary, and I also wanted to just merge the two worlds. Now, the reason why all of this is important is because at the time where I was in California, by the way, I'm from Watts. I grew up in the Nixon Gardens, and I also grew up in the Jordan Downs. And if you guys heard any bumping, it's my son. He gets excited and he does his thing. My youngest son, actually. So like I said, I grew up back in California, and I'm going to fast forward like years. I'm going to fast forward years. It was around the time, I want to say it might have been like maybe 3 or 4 years ago. My former husband, no, actually it might have been like 5 years ago. My former husband and I were looking to move, right? And we knew that we wanted to move out of state. We did not make the final decision to move anywhere until after my first biological son was born. And we, just kind of set it down. And at the time, I was, like I said, we were looking for places to go, and I was looking at the astrocartography charts. So for those of you guys that don't know, astrocartography is essentially relocation astrology and how you are being impacted by the planets based off your geographical location. All right, that was a mouthful. Essentially, it's how you are being affected and how the planets are affecting you based on where you're at on the map. For example, if you're looking for somewhere to move, you want to check your astrocartography chart, because depending on what comes up, depending on those transits, you want to see if they are supportive of what you are manifesting. For example, if you are wanting to move to Jamaica, right? What is the reason why you want to move to Jamaica? Well, I want to move to Jamaica because I want to have a business plan. I want to get myself out there. You want to check your astrocartography chart to see if where the planets are aligning, are they going to be supporting what you are trying to manifest, right? Anyway, I hope that I was able to explain that right. I could go into that in another video. I'm not going to go into it too deeply right now. So basically, at that time, I was looking for different places to go. And I ended up coming across, right, this place in Philadelphia. I was like, ooh, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Great. Like, we can definitely go there. So I checked my chart. I checked my husband's chart. I checked my oldest child's chart. We're like, oh, you know what? This is actually a place where we all will benefit from. So I'm thinking the whole time, me and my husband at the time, that we were going to go to Philadelphia. So I'm like, okay, this is great. I'm going to trust it. But something was like, I need you to pull cards on it. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So I pulled some cards on it. I remember using like a Rider-Waite deck or something like that. Everything looked good, but something didn't sit right. Like, I don't remember exactly which cards I pulled. But I do remember that after that, I actually ended up pulling from the Egyptian tarot deck. And I remember seeing swords everywhere. It was like 10 of swords. It was like 9 of swords and, magician reverse and like all these different things. And I'm like, yo, like, this is not good. Like, I don't get a good feeling about this. So I talked to my husband about it, and he was like, okay, well, we can give it some time. I'm like, you know what, you're right, let's give it some time. So this is what I did, knowing that I'm a gifted dreamer, because one of my gifts is dreaming. I get dreams, I get visions, I get prophetic dreams and things of that nature. I have predicted deaths with my dreams, and I've also predicted events with my dreams. I actually talk about certain things on my podcast, which actually some of those things are actually happening now to this day. And these are basically based off of dreams. I say that because I am someone, obviously I'm very intuitive, and I receive a lot of intuitive downloads in my dreams. And so I set my intention that I was going to receive, obviously, insight on where we should move to. Now, the interesting thing about this was that I, at the time, was talking to my cousin. I don't want to put his name in because like I want to keep him protected, but he knows who he is. Kay. Hey, Kay. Hey, cuz. Yeah. So, he was like, oh, we're moving to Virginia. I would love to go there, whatever. And it was him and also his partner, I believe, at the time. And so I was like, oh, that's great. That's good for you. I'm happy to hear that, we were thinking about moving to Philly and things of that nature because, that's where we were called to go, at least I think, and whatnot. I ended up doing some dream work. So here's where things got a little bit tricky. And this is why I didn't initially trust it until I started getting the synchronicities, which I'm going to get into later on in the video. So before I went to sleep one night, I was like, Spirit, all right, I am following your instruction. Please show me where we are meant to move to. Now, initially, I thought it was going to be Philly. Why? Because I was excited about it. I was thinking about Philly all the time. I was like, Philly, 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 Philly. It was always Philly. It was always Philadelphia. So I'm like, all right, whatever. And so I go to sleep and I have a dream. In the dream, there was this woman. I don't know her. I've never met her a day in my life. She was just simply a guide, right? And she was showing me land of Virginia. And she was showing me this really beautiful green landscape, and there were trees everywhere, and it looked beautiful. But in the dream, I'm like, what? Like, no, like, I'm not supposed to be here. Like, I don't want to go here. But she was showing me like land of Virginia, and I was just like, okay, like, I don't get it. Like, why is she showing me this? And so I wake up and I feel disappointed because I'm like, no, like, that's not where I feel like I need to go. Like, I don't want to go here because that's not. No, it's Philly. So I woke up and I was very disappointed, and I went to go tell my husband, and I was like, yo, like, I asked Spirit, but Spirit is not guiding us to Philly. Spirit is guiding us to Virginia. And he knew how disappointed I was because he knew that at the time, like, I was looking to expand myself, to get myself to grow, to offer my products and to be seen and things of that nature. And he had his plans, and we had plans for our child. And, it was just, one of those things. So I felt defeated. I felt disappointed. And so I just kind of put it down. I was like, you know what, Spirit, even though I'm disappointed right now, I trust you. Like, I get it. And it's okay. If it's really meant for me, like, or if it's really meant for us at the time, it's just, it'll all work out. So we put it down. And so I go to work the day after or something like that. I can't remember. I remember talking to some coworkers about it, right? A couple of coworkers, not very many. And they were like, oh, you know what? Virginia's actually very beautiful. And I actually really love Virginia. They were talking to me about Virginia and all these different things. And it was interesting because I remember like mentioning Philly to them, and they were just like, oh, okay. But for whatever reason to them, they were just like, yeah, I think you would really love Virginia. And I was just like, oh, okay, here we go. And I'm like, okay, maybe these are like biased opinions because, maybe they've been there, whatever. But, you know, me being ignorant, whatever. Not ignorant, but like me at the time, my heart was just on Philly for whatever reason. And what it was at the time, now that I'm thinking about it, it was more so because I wanted to feel safe and I wanted to be seen and I wanted to get myself out there and I wanted to share my creation. So of course, my first thought was Philly. Anyway, moving forward. So we sat on it for like another year. And here's where I'm fast forwarding, because at this time we had actually made the decision. Now I was pregnant with my second biological son. And we returned to the idea. And after that, we were like, you know what? Let's just, give it a go. Let's just see, how it works out. So I remember one day we went to a doctor's appointment. Now, here's where things get really, really wild. And here's where the synchronicity started hitting. Okay. So we go to a doctor's appointment. On our way there, we're on the freeway and we're traveling down the highway. A person merges over and gets in front of us. At first, I was like, why are they cutting us off? I'm like, you know what, whatever. I'm pregnant. I ain't got time to be angry. Let me just, cool down, woosah. On the back of this person's license plate, they were from Virginia. I'm not kidding you. If my husband was alive to tell you, he would tell you right now. Yes, it was someone that got in front of us and their license plate was from Virginia. So I'm like, okay. And we both just kind of like glanced at each other and we're like, okay, there's no way that we're sitting here seeing like this license plate in Virginia. All right, whatever. Okay, cool. We're still traveling. Someone on the radio then talks about Virginia and we're like, you cannot, no. And it was so weird because we were just so stunned and we just laughed because we were like, what the heck is going on? So anyway, we get to our doctor's appointment. I'm in the waiting room. I'm talking to, I think it was one of my other cousins. I'm talking to her on the phone and then I look up at the screen because you know how when you go to a doctor's appointment or a dentist office or somewhere, right? Or a clinic and they have the TVs on, right? And they have those infomercials and whatever else, right? Or the numbers or something like that. So I look at the TV and I'm like, you cannot be kidding me. I'm like, babe, look at what's on TV. And then Virginia was one of the states. I'm like, okay, maybe that was more coincidental because maybe it was coincidental, whatever. So then I go get seen by one of the nurses. I only seen that nurse one time in my life, swear, only one time in my life. And it was the day of the appointment. So we're talking and whatnot. And, we're all getting to know each other and whatnot. We're building good rapport and things of that nature. So I'll mention, yeah, my husband and I, we were looking to move. And, at first we were thinking Philly, but then we were thinking Virginia. She was like, Virginia is so beautiful. You're going to love it when you move there. Oh my God, it's going to be so many trees and it's beautiful. And I'm just like for real? What? Universe, okay, I'm hearing you. So this was so wild because I'm like, wow, this is so wild. What is it about Virginia that we're meant to do? Because apparently, even though I felt disappointed, there must be something magical about this place that spirit is guiding me towards or guiding us towards. Fast forward, I end up having my baby. 3 months postpartum, my partner passes away, unfortunately. And it sucked because I went through hell. I'm not going to talk about that right now because I don't feel like crying and I just don't want to get into that. It's just not one of those videos. Okay, so basically, yeah, he ends up passing away and I just thought that everything was just done for. I was like, you know what? He's gone. There's no point in me leaving. What is the point? How am I going to get there at this point? I got to heal. I'm still recovering from a cesarean and an emergency C-section. I just went through all of this. I had to help him, through his final moments of, sickness and right. And it was just a lot. So I'm like, yo, I don't know how this is possible. I don't know if I have what it takes to even go right now. I don't know how I'm going to have the resources, the funds, the money, right? A car. What am I, how am I going to get there? What? By myself with 2 kids? That's impossible, right? And at the time I was like, yo, I can't do it. I genuinely can't do this. I know that spirit, you were guiding me to go to Virginia, but look what happened. How am I supposed to go now? I don't want to leave without my husband. Obviously he's not here anymore. So evidently if I were to go, I wouldn't be able to take him with me. It was just a really hard time. I had a really hard time trusting. I could not trust, right? I didn't trust people. I didn't trust in anything because I felt damn, really? it was hard, you guys. Like it still gets hard to this day, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Fast forward, I remember, going through my healing journey, things like that. And actually, because he passed away, or he transitioned back in 2022, January 22nd, 2022. And I remember I was just like, yo, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I don't know what my plan is. Like, I'm barely showing up on YouTube. Like, I'm barely really doing anything because of what's going on. And I remember meeting someone. I don't want to say their name either. At the time, I wanted someone else to give me an astrology reading. I didn't want to do it for myself because I just really didn't feel like it. Like, I didn't feel like doing anything. I felt like I was in a space where I wanted to be more receptive. So I met someone, which she was really, really cool. Shout out to her. I hope she's doing well in her life. She actually, and this was actually the second astrology reading that I got. So basically with her, she was letting me know, this would be like a good place for you to go. And, this is all this stuff and good stuff. Like, we were talking about, a lot of different things. And I was just like, okay, cool. And I remember her telling me, she was like, yes, like, if you're looking to go, like, you would probably want to move like somewhere like September or September-ish, right? Funny. Love it. Funny. So I was like, you know what, Spirit, I don't know what's going on in my life right now. I don't know what to do, but I'm putting it in your hands. I said, if it is meant for me and my two boys to go to Virginia, I said, I trust that you will make a way for me. And I know that you will send me the funds and the resources. If it's meant for me to go, send me the funds, the resources, and a car. Mark my words. And there are people who can confirm this. One of my sisters, let's just call her D, she confirmed this because I was actually like back and forth at her house because I was spending time with her and things like that. And I'm going to send her this video because I want her to listen to this because she can definitely vouch for me. I know she can. I remember being at her house, right? And I was pulling some tarot cards and I was like, yeah, sis, I'm looking for a car, and well, I'm going to start looking for a car and things like that. I just want to, whatever. And actually, let me backtrack a little bit because I'm leaving things out. I actually ended up receiving funds and money for myself, for the kids, and other stuff that we needed. And I was like, you can't be kidding me. I ended up getting funds and money through through payouts for when someone like passes away and things like that, like insurance, money and things like that. And I was like, wow, that really did like help, right? Like, it helped to support us like while we were there. And I also put a large chunk of that for the move and all those different things. Now, this is where things get really, really wild because I remember the day before I was like, you know what? Like, I want to look for like a car, right? And this was like after I got the funds. So I remember, texting, one of my friends, hey, I want to go look for a car, whatnot. I don't really know what I want right now, whatever. And I'll let you know like when I'm ready to go and things like that, right? So I remember just kind of like telling my sister, like, yeah, I want to go look for a car. This is the day before I left with the car, right? The day before I got the car off the car lot. So crazy. And I remember saying, you know what? I don't know what I want. So I ended up pulling cards on it. I remember getting like the Magician, the World card. I think it might have been like the Three of Pentacles. No, not the Three of Pentacles. It was like the Three of Wands, things like that. The Ten of Pentacles. It was like, oh, okay, wow. And I was like, okay, cool. So at the time when I did the reading, I remember Spirit saying, you want to improvise. You may not have a plan, but I want you to improvise and just go with the flow, improvise. You don't have to know exactly what you want. Just go and just do it. So I said, okay, because the overarching message around that reading was that you just sometimes have to create on the fly. Like, you just have to improvise, right? You have to merge your intellect with your intuition and your creativity to create something. And I was like, okay, because again, one of the cards was the Magician. So I said, all right, cool. So I'm looking at different cars online, whatever. I didn't find anything that I liked, right? I did see this one car, which I have now, which I didn't think that I was going to get. But anyway, fast forward. So we end up just kind of going, me and my friend, we went to like this random like car lot, right? I was like, all right, let's go here. We go there and I'm like, okay, yeah, I don't really like this. They were asking for certain things I didn't have. I was like, whatever. We end up fast forward going to another place, right? We went to Hertz. And I remember just, talking to one of the guys, whatnot. Now, I remember telling him what I needed, right? I needed, space for my two children and space to put my things, whatever. So this is wild. When I went to the first dealership, something didn't feel right. It felt like I wasn't supposed to be there, but I was like, okay, I'm just going to see how this goes. I did not feel like I was meant to be there. I felt like I needed to leave. And I was like, you know what, fine, whatever. And then we ended up, putting in some information or whatever, and we were waiting on the call back. And I was like, you know what? I just don't think that this is for me. We go to the second dealership. The guy shows us around, and I'm like, okay. Before he showed us around, he actually showed us like his computer screen with different cars, right? And one of the cars that he showed me, I actually did not want at first, but something was like, just go look. So I said, you know what? Okay, I'm going to go look. All right. And when I looked at it, I was like, okay, cool. I was like, yeah, let's just go with that one. And so he ended up going to go find the key to the car. He couldn't find the key. He was like, well, I can't find the key for the 2018. Let me see if I can find like the 2019. And I was like, okay, fine. So he goes and he finds the key. So we go to it, but then he can't get into the car. And I'm like, okay, that's weird. Like, all right, whatever. So then this is where third time's the charm, the power of three. I love the power of three. It's so wild. We ended up looking at this car, and when I tell you guys, there was a strong pull towards this car. It was like this magnetic force that was like, this is it. And I remember turning to my friend. I was like, I'm leaving off the car lot with that car today. And lo and behold, I left off the car lot with that car, and it was a strong force. Something was like, you need to get this. You need to get this. And then the symbolism of it was so wild, because this was back in August. I got this we maybe like 3 days or so, or like maybe like between 3 and 5 days before the actual move. I ended up getting this car, and we were transitioning from summer to fall, which was so symbolic because the equinox was on the car. I swear it was the equinox on the car. And I was like, you can't be for real. I was like, you cannot be for real right now. And I looked at her and was just like, really? Like, are you kidding? Like, what? It was so divine. And I remember I got my keys. I gave what I needed to give. And I walked off the lot with that card, that same card that I said I will leave with. Now, the reason why I said all of this, right? Because I can go further into the story, but I'm going to leave it there. And the reason why this is important is because even when you think that things do not have the ability to manifest, trust that if it is meant for you, it will manifest. You have to go with where you are at in your own life. And you have to trust and know that what is for you is for you. And that spirit, your guide, your team will always make a way. Our logical minds will tell us that things do not have the capacity to exist. And then there are miracles. A miracle is a blessing that you logically did not believe could manifest. That is essentially what a miracle is to me, right? And the beautiful thing about that is that this was a test for me to see if I was going to actually take the leap, or if I was going to go back into logic, because logic stated that I should stay. And the interesting thing is that at this time, I was like, Spirit, like, I know that this is not the end of the road for me. I don't know why I feel the need to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm not over what happened because it's so fresh for me. By the way, this is all in August. So this was like, I want to say like 7-8 months later. I was like, Spirit, I'm not over this. There's no way I'm over this right now. But I want you to put me in a place where I know that I'm going to be with my divine partner, because I just know that there's something else for me. I know that you wouldn't do this to me. I know whatever, right? I don't want to go too deeply into that. My healing process was my healing process, and I'm trusting that. I ended up looking for an apartment, right? This was after I got the car. I ended up looking for apartments. I was getting rejected. I got rejected from Richmond. I got rejected from Henrico. I got rejected from like other places. But then I got accepted to this one particular place, and I was super excited about that. And the reason was because I just couldn't believe that all this was manifesting. If it is meant for you, it will manifest. If it is meant for you, because you have to be so willing and not just submissive, but you have to be able to surrender to this divine knowing, because we don't know everything. We can't see everything. But if you call out from your heart space, if you trust in your ability to receive, if you trust in your guides and you trust in the divine, then your guides, your steps will always be led. There are no mistakes. We make mistakes, but there there are no mistakes when it comes to our divine lives, when it comes to our life. And the reason is because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And the more that you are in tune with yourself, the more that you listen to spirit, the more that you listen to your intuition, you will always end up exactly where you are meant to be. And that is the message to you. So for this Pisces new moon, I want you to understand that it is important for you to follow your dreams, for you to follow your intuition, and for you to follow divine guidance. Because even when you feel disappointed, you'll be surprised and you will be wowed and astounded as to the best blessing that will ever come to you. So you want to be open to all of that. And that is the beauty of following your intuition. That is the beauty of being obedient to your higher mind, to your intuition, to your guides, to God, if you will. I felt the need to tell you that because there's so many people right now who are struggling to listen to their intuition, who are struggling to get through because they feel so uncertain. If I can do it, shout out to my sister, who also, one of my other sisters, who traveled with me to Virginia in that car that I ended up getting. Shout out to her because she was with me. The divine will always send people with you to make sure that you are protected and to make sure that you get to exactly to where you need to go. Be open and be thankful for these people. Be thankful for your guides. Speak out loud at things that you need and you want. Even if you don't write it down, speak from your heart. Speak out loud to your guides. They hear you. This, and I'm getting chills. I love this. This is the reason why Spirit led me to share this message with you, because it's all about divine timing, but it's also about you being honest, open, authentic, and truthful and clear about your intentions. And if you don't know, state that, and your guides will help you along the way. I hope that my story was able to inspire you enough to continue to move forward and continue to do what you need to do and continue to be open and continue to open up your heart to spirit, to your guides, to God, in order to help you along your journey. Thank you so much for spending time with me here tonight. I am so glad that we were able to spend time here. I hope that you were able to drink all your drink for as long as we talked. If you need anything from me, please feel free to visit me online at CassandraTurner.com. If you guys want to, you guys can also follow along with me on Instagram over at Magic of Eden. I am so glad to have you as a part of my space. Thank you for subscribing and hitting the notification bell and for just being a part of our Eden Family Soul Tribe. I love you, and I'll catch you in my next video.